Hello and welcome to your instruction 1.6. In this instruction, we will look at some aspects regarding Word. And again, this is taken from other courses that I present. So the videos will refer again to CMY 282 and 382. So don't let that confuse you, but the content is should be quite insightful and interesting to you. I really do hope that you learned something. And of course, everything presented there is for interest sake. You don't need to apply it necessarily, but I do think it would be of great value to you should you wish to apply. Okay, I hope you enjoy. Hello everyone. So in this video, we're going to cover some formatting in Word, and I'm going to show you specifically how to use numbering. So numbering of your headings. So so if you go to the Home tab in the ribbon, and in the styles box, you'll see there's different headings there. I'm going to discuss how all these things flow together, as well as adding page numbers. The first thing I'm going to do, I like to go to layout and make the margins narrow, because then you can actually optimally use the space on your pages. Okay, so for a report such as you will be writing for 382, you usually would use what we would call an article style numbering. So that means your highest number in your headings, or numbering your headings, is A1. So this would be your first heading. And then you would have, so subsequently, you would have a second heading. So just to show what I did here, if I take that out, I typed 1, and you need to put a full stop. Then you put a space, and then it automatically Word starts numbering for you from there. Now the problem is, so you keep clicking enter at the end of these lines, and then you keep on getting numbers, but that's quickly evaded by just saying enter again, and then it stops. And then if you go on, let's say you want to put, so you have some text here, some ha 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 noise, and you want to put your third heading over here. Then you just type 3 and you go on from there. So this is the third heading. Okay. Now, what do we want to do? So we want to connect this heading to the heading there, because you see the moment we start clicking, so if you click there and you scroll to there or move your mouse to there, it changes that and the numbering changes again. So at the moment your heading over there is not connected to your numbering style in your document. So the way you want to fix that is, I'm just going to undo, Control Z, is you want to now right click, say update heading 1 to match section. And there you see now it's automatically the numbering is incorporated into your heading. So it says 1 dot, that thing there. Also, this is a heading. You want to put that there, to format it as such. You just click on what you want to make the heading, and you make that a heading. Then this little arrow will show up when you hover over these things. You see, for example, it's not there when I'm there, because that is just normal text there in our styles box. Okay. So now, of course, this looks very ugly. You don't want to use it as such. So the first thing I usually do is now you click on the number. So then the numbers are going to highlight, and it's going to highlight all the ones that are connected to each other. So this is what you call a list. So there's a list of numbers here. You right click here, and you say set numbering, or adjust list indents. That's what you want to go. So what have we done? We've right clicked on the number. We said adjust list indents. So the number position at the moment is at 0.63 centimeters. So that is about there. So that means where that is. But we want to align it to the left here. So you change number position to 0. And I like to say follow number with a space. So that means there's no longer a tab. So you see that thing means a tab is what you go is a tab. So now we want to change that to a space so that it looks like a little dot when you're in the formatting one. Okay. So then we say yes. So that just updates it to your heading. And you see now all our numbers have shifted to the left. Also, Very important here in the paragraph, so in home, in the ribbon, so you see clipboard font paragraph, ensure that this thing is on. And you can always see your paragraph marks, so that you know, for example, that's an enter, that's a space, and whatever, and the tab is the little arrows. So then you can remove a tab. Okay. Now, of course, a heading needs to look something quite nice. So let's say, for example, you want to make it bold. So you've highlighted it, you made it bold, and you increase it, and then you can click. So then while you're highlighted, you go up here, you right click on the heading, you say update heading 1 to match section, and then it's going to automatically update all your headings to look in this or a similar way. Okay. Alternatively, you could go here, so you right click on this box, you say modify, and then here you can choose the font. Let's say you want to use that. You don't want it to be bold anymore, but you want it italicized, and then it will also update it as such. Okay. So let's keep it bold for now, and we want to type. So just make sure now, actually, when you go from the headings, you no longer have the problem of when you're just normal list numbering. If you're going to say enter, it's going to take you immediately to a normal paragraph style. Also, something interesting to note, please note when you're working in paragraphs, rather write the one that says justified. So that keeps your text boxed nicely. If you keep it like this, that is when you have different lengths of paragraphs running here on the sides. Okay, but that's personal choice, so that's not really something you have to worry about. Now, okay, so usually let's make this a good one, an actual report. So this would be an introduction. This would be your results. And let's say this is the discussion. Now, if you want to change this to a heading 1, you just click there, and then immediately your heading is there. Discussion, and then conclusion. Oh, my word. Can't spell this morning. Okay. Now, so underneath your introduction, you would maybe want to have certain subparagraphs. So 1.1, remember full stop after the number, then it's going to number. So now you've created what is called a multi-level list. So that is one, that is the second heading. And we want to connect this heading to that style. So again, we click there, we say update heading 2. Now heading 2 is that style. Let's make it also just make it bold, for example. So click on it, bold, and there you have it. And now remember what we had to do previously. We had to click and say adjust list indent. But now you see we have a different pop-up box because we have defined what is called the multi-level list. So in here, you can see your list levels. So you have 1, which is connected to heading 1. You have 1.1, which is connected to heading 2. And these also are available, but you haven't connected them to any headings yet. I don't like the full stops after the numbers, so I'm going to remove that from heading 1. And I'm going to do the same for heading 2. I don't like that full stop. Okay. Then you just, so now we look at more, click more. So I'm heading 2. So just click on heading 2. So we see there's a 1.1. We've removed the full stop. We've clicked on more just to see it says restart after level 1. So that is level 1, which is connected to heading 1. So in other words, if I click here, it's going to say 2.1 and not 1.2. It restarts after every heading 1 it sees. You can also just do this by hand if you're not following, but this is to make it easier to easily use Word to do things automatically for you. Again, it's still on the tab character. I like the space. So then you say OK. Now you see it's removed the full stops, and we have what we want. So below this, let's say for example you're looking at introduction, and we're looking at absorbance spectroscopy. Now you see there's something interesting. So we've bolded that, and that is not bolded. So all you want to do is highlight that bold. So again, update. And now from now on, whenever you're using a second heading style, it's going to automatically number and it's going to say something else. So secondly, in your introduction, you're going to look at organic molecules. Okay. Once you get to your results section, let's say, for example, so now you see it immediately numbers it as 2.1. So you just go again. So this is, I don't know, what do you have typically in your results? Let's say just say section 1 or whatever it is. And this is how you start building a multi-level list. Now, typically you would go up to about 3 headings. So we have heading 1, we have heading 2, and now to add a third heading in Word. So there's a default one, but remember, keep it in the style. So stylistically, we've gone bold and large. We've gone 11, so maybe we want to increase this one size, perhaps to 14. Remember, update heading 2, update all the headings. You see why it's important to just keep track of this at the beginning. So you make a layout at the beginning, and then you can use it, because now you just need to click. You don't have to remember anything, and you're not going to miss number by hand. And the third heading, so typically you go up to 2.1.1. So you see I've done it here, and I've done it for 2. So even if I now go and I say update heading here to match that, you see it's going to match it automatically. So even if we go below 1.2 here and we add this heading, that is not supposed to happen. Okay, I'll quickly. That's actually good that that happened now. Let me fix that. Okay. So, no, it's correct. No, it's correct. So 1.2.1. So under 1.2 is 1.2.1. Sorry, my mind just froze. It's really not even early. Okay. But once again, there's a full stop. So how will we change that? Adjust list indents. Take out the full stop. I don't like the tab character. You can remove it with a space. And there we go. Okay. And then this heading, let's modify this time this way around. So let's say we want it just slightly bigger than our text, because our text is 11, and we want this one italicized, keeping in what it is. And this is some info on organic molecules. Okay. And this one can also be more info on section 1. That's the discrepancy I made here. That's O is with a capital letter, and this one is with a small letter. Make sure of little inconsistencies of that. Also, I just forgot to save, so please just choose. So this is the CMY 382 Word headings document. Okay. So I think typically those are the number of levels you would go. You might go one more, but typically you don't number larger than 2.1.1. So you're not going to have a 2.1.1.1. You would just have something else. So let's say normal italicized thing, and this is our 4th heading type. Now you need to click this little down button that says more in the styles box, and you see our heading 4 there, but we don't want that thing to color it. We just want to update it to match the section. And now we have 4 defined headings. So that's, you can go through all of them and see as you hover over them, it changes it. There are also other options, and of course, as you add a 4th heading, the 5th heading option comes. If you add a 5th heading, there's a 6th and a 7th and an 8th and a 9th and a 10th and 11th. Now, whatever, that helps if you have multiple things to number as in your practical manual. That's what I use, but you don't have to worry about that. So typically this is about how much you would need. So now you've set that up, you've connected to your heading. So you type your information here, you want to add another heading, you realize, oh my word, so then you don't have to worry, because Word is automatically going to update your headings for you. I've changed my mind, I don't want this italicized. I just want it normal. There we go. And that one's just italicized. Okay. Always remember to save. Control S, or up there you save. Just do that. I say Control S. You see it every time. I'm a chronic Control S user. Okay. So we've now done numbering in words, so how to add a heading, how to link it to a number, how to modify that number, how to modify your heading types. And now, let's say, as you want to add a table of contents. Okay, so you see I've just put a bunch of enters here. How do I get rid of that? I'm just going to highlight them, click the normal. There's still one left. Click the normal. Okay, and insert a page break. So you want to insert, you go layout, you go breaks, and then another section you want to put in a page break. Alternatively, you could use Control Enter. That will also give you a page break. Okay, so now our document starts on this page. This is, for example, our title page. So title page, whatever it is, and let's insert another page break. But now we want to have a table of contents we want to add here. So for that, okay, this is going to take a while. I just ignore what I'm doing here. I just need to open my Mendeley so that my references opens more easily. So you go to references, now go to table of contents. And you can say, firstly, you can just use automatic table of contents if you're not that skilled in Word. And then it's going to generate a table of contents for you. You can remove your own content because it will immediately label it for you. There it has, it's numbered everything. It's every subsequent heading is shifted, and it's shifted up until the 1.2.2. So you see our fourth heading is not included there, which is fine. And if we add here something, let's say add a heading to this number, because you see it's empty there, and you right click, then you see there's a update table that comes up. You don't want to update the page numbers, you want to update the entire table. And then you see, there we've added our heading. So everything becomes automated. You can easily do that. If you don't like this table of contents, you can build a custom table of contents, and you can play around here of how to modify it. You can take that out, for example, and you want to show your fourth heading if you would like, and you would like to modify things. You can make things bold so that they appear more. Otherwise, I'm not going to go through this. This is only if you know how to use Word well. And please go about this. Otherwise, you can just use the normal template Word gives you. And now I want to replace it. So you see now I've immediately changed things. And if I put off the paragraph thing, now we have a nice table of contents. Okay, you can also just make it table of contents. But what's the problem here? It's not really in line with what you've done previously. So previously we had bold, normal Calibri, and black. And I think there was 20 font. So perhaps I have a 20 font, insert the space if you would like. And there you have a table of contents. Okay. Just check when you update the table again, update entire table, you see the table of contents will remain there, and those things are just going to update your page numbers and your headings as you add them. Okay. Now the final thing, we've been talking about page numbers. So now you see the table of contents is saying these are all on page 3, but there's no page 3. Page 3 is technically, yes, it is page 3, but there's no page 3. Then what you do is you come, so let's put on our paragraph markers again in the paragraph section. Right click here at the bottom. Usually it's a good, so if you right click here at the bottom, say edit footer is going to pop up. Alternatively, you can go to, I just need to remember myself, review, view, draw, insert, footer. There's the option. So if you go insert, it's next to the home, go to footer, page number, bottom of the page. You can choose a plain page number. You can also do all sorts of fancy things, like, for example, that or whatever. I'm quite sure most of you know how to do this, but just for interest's sake, I'm going to show you something that's very important. So, okay, we've inserted the one there. We don't want it that high, and we just want to format it because you see that's Times New Roman. We're using Calibri as our typing font, and we're using 11 as the size. Okay, so now we have, I'm just going to zoom out so I don't get it right. So now we have 1, 2, 3. It's not customary to number your title page. It's customary to have this technically as number 0. Then also your table of contents, your table of contents is also generally not numbered using Arabic numerals. So this is what we call Arabic numerals, 1, 2, 3. They're usually numbered using Roman numerals. So how do you use that? Okay, so if you struggle with Word, you are more than welcome to stop with it now, because this is only for if you really, really want to have. It's fine, you can number your first page. I don't mind. It's not the end of the cat or the death of the cat. If you number these things, at least if you have page numbers, then it refers to the correct number in your table of contents. Okay, so to insert or to format your page numbers, this is how you're going to do it. So remember we inserted a page break, so let's take out the page break. We go to layout and breaks. Now you see there's a thing called a section break. So insert a section break. Then what we want to do is we want to go to this page break and insert another section break. Okay, so we've inserted 2 section breaks, not page breaks. So you see it says section break, next page. There's also the option of a continuous one. That means you break it on that page. That is for different functions. For example, if we want to have double columns, single columns on the same page, or all sorts of weird things, landscape and whatever, you can use that. But this is how this works. Okay, so we've inserted 2 section breaks. Why have we done that? Because now, if you click here at the bottom, you're going to see, so you've double clicked here at the bottom next to the page number, you're going to see something pop up in the ribbon that says link to previous. It will be highlighted. Click on that, make sure that it's not linked to the previous one. The reason is, we're going to do the same thing here, link to previous. And then what we want to do is we want to remove the page number on the first page. Because like I said, that's usually number 0, and you don't number it. Then you see this is one is number 2. So if this is number 0, then this page can't be number 2. But also remember I said it's Roman numerals. So what we want to go is we want to format the page number. We want to change the page, the format to Roman numerals. And we want to start at I, not double I. We want to start at I. So you see, previously it was continued from previous section. We don't want that. Now we want to start it at I. This one starts at I. Okay, so there's no page number there. This one starts at I. This one is still number 2. But this is not page number 2. This is page 1, right? Because it's our first Arabic numbered page. So again, we go to format page numbers. So page number, format page numbers, start at 1. Okay. And there you have it. Now you have an unnumbered title page. You have your your table of contents is I. So usually if you ever read a textbook, there's a preface or a list of tables or a list of abbreviations or whatever. These are all called the preface or the front matter of a document, and they contain only the Roman numerals. In this, from the second page onward, or from the first content page, so meaning if you have chapter 1, or like we have here, introduction, this is page number 1. And that is how you do that. Now, of course, let's just go back to our table of contents. We want to say update table, entire table, and now you see they all display on page 1. We have our table of contents on page I, and we have that on page 1. Okay, so I hope you've learned something, you've enjoyed it, or maybe you haven't learned something and you already knew this, then it's just a nice refresher or the correct way of doing it. If you did not follow, you're more than welcome. Nobody's going to know if you type 1.1 and just type absorbance, and you just bold it. And you go there and you just put an enter. Okay, well now mine does it automatically, but you get the idea. So you can just type and enter, and then you just have to be careful about your numbering. Always just make sure that your numbering is correct. And yeah, well, in the next video we'll go from this point on. I'll see you there. Welcome back everyone, and in this video we are going to look at how to insert figures, schemes and tables into your Word document, as well as using Word's auto-captioning function. So first let's look at how to incorporate a figure, for example. So in your Word document you want to insert, let's say, some IR spectra, and you've downloaded the IR spectra from ClickUp. You can click on it, you can copy it, so you can right click, copy, or Control C. You go back to your Word document, you Control and V, or right click paste, Now you're going to see it's going to look something like this. So just resize it. You can do it in here, for example. Let's make it, a page is about 18 centimeters wide. So we'll make it 18. Okay. And we want to rotate it to the right, not to the left, to the right, to the right. Okay. And don't worry about looking terrible at the moment, but now we've inserted our figure, right? We also, let's say we want to insert a scheme. So the difference between a scheme and a figure is a scheme is usually something like a chemical reaction, which looks something like this. Versus a figure is something that is like not a scheme in essence. So a scheme is what you call a specialized figure. And a figure is, well, a figure, anything that's picture-like, a graph, a plot, a whatever. And then you can get the specialized figure, which is the scheme. And the scheme usually has some things plus one another and arrows. It doesn't necessarily have to be a chemical reaction. It could be a scheme for showing how to make coffee. So then it's boiled water plus this, plus coffee powder, plus sugar, plus whatever you would like to add, gives coffee. It's also a scheme of sorts. So we've added a figure, we've added a scheme. So the scheme will probably be the same that you add as a figure, because you'll add pictures, but just to differentiate between what a figure and a scheme is. And then the final part is a table. So if you want to insert a table, you go to Insert, Table, and now you need to draw however big table you would like to draw. Let's draw one that's 4 columns wide and 6 rows in depth. So 4 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. Okay, so Insert, Table, and we draw the table. All right, so now that we have these 3 things in, where do we insert their caption? So a caption is something that explains or gives a name to what this is. So typically, what you guys would have done up to now, basically, is you would have done this, and you would have said figure 1. And maybe you like to use the colon, the full stop, the dash, whatever you would like to use. And you would have said IR spectrum of acetone, and we would have left it at that. And this we would say, for example, is the scheme of, so this is scheme 1, and this is the chlorination of benzene, for example. Of course, these aren't very illustrative. Your captions should be much better than what I have here, but these are just for illustrative purposes. And then in your table, you might have had table 1, and you would say some table. Okay, so there's our 3 captions. So firstly, where did they go? So this one went below the figures. So figures are captioned below them. So you have figure, then the caption. Same with the scheme. You have a scheme, then the caption. But the table first has the table caption and then the table. Okay, very important. Please remember that. That's a mistake I still saw in 385. Some of you, not all, but there were still mistakes. Okay, so now let's say, for example, you have 2 million figures in your document, and you don't want to go by hand and number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. You want a way so that you can number them automatically. And our Word can help you with this. So that is our caption that we want to use. And then if you go up here to your ribbon, above the design, so between the draw and design options here in the top left corner, you see there's a little picture there. It says, when you hover over it, it says insert caption. Then you left click on that. Then it will give you the option to add a caption. So meaning a figure, a table, a scheme, or whatever. And if you go to label here, you'll see there's options for equation, figure, scheme, and table. We'll get to equation in a subsequent video. So here we'll focus on figure, scheme, and table. So this is a figure, and you don't make sure that this box is unticked, otherwise it's just going to give you a 1. You want it exclude label from captions. In other words, you have figure 1. Also, you can make sure that it says figure 1 by going to the numbering and making sure this box is unticked. Because if you say include chapter number, it's going to link it with heading 1. So because we have a heading 1 in our document, this is then going to become figure 1.1. But because you're using the article style for 382, you don't want that. You just want to number it as figure 1. Okay, so now we've inserted that. There's your space. You can add things here, and there you've automatically numbered your figure. Okay, so let's say, for example, you have another one. Let's just copy what we have exactly here, and then you right click on it, say update field, and you'll see it automatically numbers that to number 2, that's figure 1, and depending on how many ever you have in your document, that will go there. If you want to refer to it, here we refer to, so remember, every figure, table, scheme, whatever you ever put into your thing, if it's there, it has to have an in-text reference to it. So now you quickly need to just go to references. So this is not like Mendeley referencing, but it's just located at the same place. And you want looking for cross-reference. So in cross-reference, so let's just have a, real-time replay. So you were at home, you clicked on references, and you went all the way here to the right to captions, cross-reference. Go to figure, and there you see there's our 2 figures. So the one you want to reference, you click there, make sure it says insert as a hyperlink, and then only label and number, because you don't want the full name of it. So you don't want it to say figure 1, you just want to say figure 1, and then you say insert. There you see it's added figure 1 as a referred thing. So it highlights it in the same manner as it highlights this number. You see, it's similar to that. There's a double highlighting taking place there. Okay. And then let's say, for example, so we've referred to this figure. Now let's say we add a figure before this one. Okay, so you've realized you wanted to add something before and you made a mistake before. And okay, now, this figure is technically now figure 2, right? So you go, you highlight it, you say update field, this is figure 2, this is figure 3. You can actually highlight everything in your text and just say update. Then it will automatically update everything. And then you see, my word, because you use the cross-referencing, it now refers to figure 2. So you don't need to keep track of anything. It does it automatically for you. Okay. The same with the scheme. So we want to add a scheme caption here. So click there. You can go to the little thing. But now just make it a scheme. And then it's going to start at 1 again. And format your scheme. So it's labeled scheme 1. So exact same thing with the table. Go there. Click table. Now you see there's a mistake there because it says table 1.1. We just go to numbering. We exclude the chapter number. Go there. It says table 1. Okay. So now let's say you want to make it a bit pretty because this is just italicized and whatever. You need to go here to your heading styles. And you see the caption one is highlighted. So here you click right click, modify. You want to make it black, italicized, bold. And you want to make it the same size font as what you write. And there you see all your captions have been updated. You can of course add things like this, or you could use the full stop, whatever you would like to use. I also like if this is not bold, but this you have to do by hand. But yes, in essence, it saves you a lot of time. You don't have to worry about the numbering. Okay, so that is what I wanted to show in this video. Basically, if you want to use this, you're more than welcome. You don't necessarily have to use it. It's not enforced. But yeah, a great feature of this, for example, if you're going to press in Control and hover over there, you can click and it will take you to that figure because it's inserted as a hyperlink. That's why I said that's important. Always just remember that in your text, there needs to be a cross-reference. So schemes, figures, tables must always only label and number, insert, and you must always reference to it before you see the scheme. So, or figure or table. So scheme 1, then you see scheme 1. You're not going to refer the first time to scheme 1 after it. You can refer to it 25 times after this again, but there needs to be one beforehand as well. Same with the table, same with the figure. Just to recap, figures are numbered below or captioned below, schemes are captioned below, tables are captioned above the table. Okay, that's all for this video. And in the next one, we're going to cover multi-level schemes and figures. Okay, so we've now looked at all to add figures and schemes and tables into Word using the auto captioning function. But now let's say, for example, you want to have a multi-level figure. So meaning a figure that has, so IR spectra of A, acetone, then B, let's say acetic anhydride, and C, something else. What's another carbonyl group? Can't think of one actually. That's awkward. Acetic acid. Okay. So you now want to have that. So how are you going to include the A, B, and C parts underneath your figure? So if you look at a textbook or something like that, they usually have the figure and then an A underneath it and a B and a C underneath them. So the way I do it is I insert a table and just take out the lines. So if you go insert table, and we would like to have a 3x2 table. So in other words, because we want to have 3 images or 3 figures and places for the A, B, and C to stand. So if that doesn't make sense for the moment, please just bear with me. So what we want to do is we want to take that picture. So I'm going to cut it, Control X, paste it there. Okay, and imagine these are 3 different images. And I want them to be A, then I go to this cell, B, and I go to this cell, C. Okay. And well, I mean, that already looks sort of like a figure. So you have your A, B, and C, you have your different ones there. But now, how do you make this nice and pretty? Oh. So then, when you hover over a table, you'll see that this comes up. So there's little 4 arrows pointing in different directions. You need to click on there. Then the table design should pop up at the right here in light blue. So you go table design, and you want to edit the borders, and you don't want any borders. So you take away the borders. Okay. And then go layout. Then you're looking for the align center one. So the middle of the middle ones. There you have it. There's your figures now nicely captioned, A, B, and C. But you can see there's a little bit, so like the spacing is a bit intense, right? So it's really close below it and not really perfectly aligned. So what we can do is now you're going to highlight, so click left and drag, and you go to layout, and you can increase the height of that row. 1 centimeter is usually nice, and let's make them bold. Control B, or you can go home and you can click the B. Okay. And if we just drop the paragraph markers, then we can see we have a nice figure A, B, and a C part, and they're nicely separated. You don't see the table's lines, and it looks like you formatted this table or this image quite nicely. Of course, you can, if you need to, so now let's say, for example, you have to do 5. Okay, so how are you going to do 5? Well, usually what I do, so you want the A, B, C, and then you also want a D and E to be added to the figure. So how I do this is I now add 2, let's just put on the paragraph, so I add 2 of these, and I just insert another table, but this time a 2x2 table. We take that space, remember that this is going to be D, that one is going to be E. In case you're wondering what I changed the whole time, it's just Control Z. So the Control Z just undoes what anything Word does that you didn't want it to do. We want it to be bold. We don't want any borders. We want them to be in the middle. And let's just copy these images for now. And then there you have it. So you can make this very small. So I'll just make this a 1. And there you have a multi-level figure. Of course, you can play around with the size of these cells to make them look better. So you see at the moment they're quite wide. So let's make them 7 centimeters. So I'm just changing these, and then I center this table. And there you have it. And you just need to remember to increase that size to 1 centimeter. And look how beautiful that looks. So now you have a multi-level figure. So of course you can do this for a scheme as well, and any kinds of figures, and that you use by editing the table. Cool. So I've also shown, now you've also learned in this video how to edit the table, how to do different border styles, how to look at the thickness. You can also change the thickness of a border of a table. Yeah, so I hope this showed you at least something. And if you want to use it, you can use it, because it's quite difficult to format the A, B, and C's using tabs and spaces and whatnot in Word. And that is when things move around. Now, no matter what you're going to put here or add afterwards, you're not going to move your table here. But if you were using the old ways of using Word, you probably would have moved something, and then one picture shifts the whole document. Okay. I'm going to add to this video a short section on just the tables and how to format a table a bit more. But so this is going to disappear now, and we're going to cut to that video. Okay, so let's quickly just look at how to format tables specifically. So I took us back to our table we inserted way in a previous video. And now again, we click there, so we hover over the table, you click there, you go table design. So now let's say, for example, you want to do something, you want to have thicker borders. And then you can go here to borders, borders and shading. You can choose the thickness of the borders you would like. Don't be ridiculous, but you know, have something nice and format it using that. So then all your borders are going to be that thick. Let's just undo that. You can also alternatively do one border at a time. So let's say, for example, you want to highlight cells or do whatever. You can also add shadings to a specific row. So you highlight the row, you add a shading by clicking on the shading button. You can make it colorful to whatever you would like to do. You can also merge cells. So let's say, for example, you want to put something at the top here that's going to be one column. Then you go to layout, merge cells. Where do you want it? You want it in the middle of that cell. So then we're going to type something. Okay. And this, for example, then goes with, oh my word, something. Something with an A, a B, and a C. We also want these to be in the center of the cell. We actually want all of them to be in the center of the cell. They're all in the center of the cell. And then this one, I don't know, we want these cells to be merged. So we take that, and we want to change the text direction. So we're still in layout, we go to text direction, you've changed it. You also want it to be in the middle of the cell. This also says something. Okay. So then you can play around. So now you can highlight these ones. You can add a nice border to them. You have a border for that one and a border for that one. So you see these cells sort of stand out. This is an outline. Typically in a journal, they don't like it if you use too many lines. So if you take this is insert another table. So again, insert table. So let's have a few rows. What they like you to do is you take out all the borders and you only put top and bottom borders that's thick. So the top row gets a bottom border and a top border, and the bottom border just gets a bottom border, or bottom cell. The bottom cells gets a bottom border, and that's then what you have. So then you have here A, B, C, D, and you have some text values 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and these will then display in the table as such. Of course, now you have the tools to format the table a bit so you can make it look pretty. You can, for example, have these ones aligned to the left and in the middle, and these ones are all middle aligned. You can play, for example, this row can have a nice little highlight, so you can make it light gray. This one also has to be sort of something, so you make it light blue, and then you have information here. So be creative, play around with your tables. You can also just normally use the tables if you'd like for 382, but you're going to need something similar to what I've shown here for one of the assignment questions. So this was just to show you how to get the text in a different way, to merge cells and get different thickness and of course coloring your cells, just in case you did not know. Okay, I'll see you then in the next video. Okay, so in this video we're going to look at how to insert an equation into Word. So the first way you can go is you go up here to the ribbon, you say insert, and you say equation, and there pops up an equation. Alternatively, if you want to use a keyboard shortcut, it's Alt, and then the plus equals sign, and it also inserts your equation. Then you basically just have to choose whatever you would like to add here. So this is how you insert any text. So you can add a fraction, an exponent, your square root, integrals, sums, your sine, ln, etc. function, limits, different operators, and matrix. You can scroll through all these and see whatever you have. Unfortunately, my computer for some reason lags when I have to do it this way around, so I'm going to unfortunately use the shortcuts. So let's say we want to see what the integral of some function is. So there, you just type, the function that we're looking at is called big F of x, and that is equal to the integral between a to b of f of small x dx. And I like that d to be like that. Okay, and there you've inserted an equation. So as you saw, I used the shortcuts. Alternatively, you could have gone equation, and then if I click there, my computer is going to freeze, so I'm not going to click there. You see, there's already something weird going on with my mouse. I do apologize, but you should not do that. I just have a lot of dodgy software on my computer. Anyway, so then you can do this. Now to edit these equations, so you can see this is in a font called Cambria Math, and we're typing here in Calibri. So the first way around that is you can always say, okay, I want to use Cambria Math. There's Cambria Math, and then everything's in the same font. I don't like that. I want to make this Calibri. So how you change that is you highlight the text you would like to change. You go to equation, so this is called your equation editor ribbon. And you tick text, then you make it Calibri. Now you're going to see magic. Now you see everything shifted. Oh, terrible. Just go before the F, put a space. Of course, that doesn't work now. Put a space, put the F in italics. So I don't think it's tilted anymore. And then we also go to this side. We also want this text. We also want Calibri. These fonts are like that. Okay. And that is how you insert an equation, and now it's in the Calibri font. We put up paragraph markers. You see a perfectly equation. Okay. Now, of course, equation numbering. So you rarely see an equation like that. Sometimes you're going to see it has a number to the side there, right? And remember in the figure captions, that's at the top here, we had an option to add an equation. Now, when you're using this caption of Word, the auto captioning, make sure that this box is ticked that says exclude label from caption. Otherwise, it's going to say equation 1.1, which is just stupid. So make sure that it says that. And also, again, with the numbering, we don't want to include the chapter number. We just wanted to say equation 1, so number 1. Let's say OK. Now we have our caption there. And if you are afraid of Word and you're not quite sure really how things work yet, it's more than okay to just do that use align it to the right in the what do you call it, the field just below your equation. You take off that, it sort of looks that it's there, but you can see it's offset. There's something not aesthetically pleasing about that. So how do we fix that? Okay, so we're going to use a table again. You see, tables are these wonderful things that you can just use for whatever you'd like. So let's insert our equation. I'm just going to cut it. Oops. Okay, there we go. Then I want to click in our table cell. I'm going to paste it. Okay, you see it went ugly again. That just means there's not a space in front of the F. It doesn't recognize the space in front of the F. There we go. You see, these are workarounds in Word. And then we want to insert our equation numbering there. Now you need to ensure that you cut. So go up here, cut, or Control X. Then you click there and you paste it there. Okay. May change the formatting of your table. And we're going to click. Remember, no borders. Magic. This one we can change. It says in the middle, to the right, aligned right. Look how beautiful that looks. Now you have a beautifully numbered table equation, and you can also cross-reference it using the same cross-referencing we've been using the whole time. Cross-reference. The only difference now is you're going to go to equation. Now you can say entire caption, because you see the entire caption includes your braces. So now there's your entire caption inserted into Word. And that is how you insert the equation, number the equation, and cross-reference the equation in Word. So whenever you're calculating something, then please make sure you use the equation editor. Don't just type things in line text. Also, you're more than welcome. You don't have to change the font. That is just a personal preference of mine. Things that I've developed over the years. I am showing you different techniques that I use to set up different things, but you're more than welcome to do whatever your style is. This is my personal style. You can use whatever you would like. Also, the font of physical chemistry is Times New Roman. That I believe intensely. That is the font of physical chemistry. You see? Why? Because it just looks more mathematical. Okay. So that's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one. We will finally save this document as a PDF. Okay, welcome to our final Word tutorial video. And now we're going to look at how to save the document as a PDF. So we will not be accepting Word documents as your submission files for CMY 382. We will only be accepting your PDF document to turn it in. So you've now finished your document. You've made it very nice. You know, everything's where you want it to be. You've forgotten to update your table of contents, but that's okay, because the way I'm going to show you now is going to immediately update everything in your document. So it will not update, or it will update all your figure captions, all your equation captions, your table of contents, etc. So this is the screen you see. So at the moment we're on the Home tab. Then we go to the File, Save As, PDF. So you go to PDF, and then you just click Save. And you see it takes a while to load. The reason it takes a while is because in that while it's updating all your numbers, it's updating all your equations, all your captions, everything you have in the document. So if we go to the Home tab or to your desktop, wherever you saved it, so you just need to check where it's saved. So this is how I look at my PDFs, page display, single page view. So there's our title page, our table of contents. And the reason I love the way we've set up this up is if you click in the table of contents now on a specific heading, it will take you to where that heading is in the document itself. You see, even though we didn't update our table of contents, it updated all the page numbers to exactly where we want it to go. There it is. Also, if you cross-reference in your document, now it takes you exactly to where you want to go in the PDF. So scheme 1 will take you, scheme 1 is unfortunately on this page. Figure 2 is on the next page. So we see we're currently on page 1. If we click on that, it takes us to where figure 2 is. So that is why the cross-referencing works brilliantly. And you have to use save as PDF and not print to PDF, which I'll show you just now if you would like to use that. But save to PDF works the best. And it should work no matter what type of PDF editor you have, because it's a built-in function in Word or Office 365. Okay, so let's just go through that again. So if you're there, file, save as PDF. Okay, that is exactly how you will do that. Your other option is to go to File, Print. And then you click here on the type of printer you would like. So printer, click here, Microsoft Print to PDF, Print. And now it's going to ask you what to save it as. Let's save it as Print to PDF headings document. You say OK. Your computer takes a while. But now you should have the same thing. Print to PDF. The reason I don't prefer the print to PDF is, as I said, you cannot access the cross-referencing clicking by doing that. So unfortunately, you lose out at that function. And sometimes it does blur figures and schemes. You see, for example, this figure is quite blurred as compared to when we had it in this document, where it's not that blurred. So save as PDF is is more, what's the word I'm looking for? Is better. That is basically what it is. It's better than print to PDF. So save as PDF is what I prefer. You're more than welcome to do whatever you would like. It's a free country. And please remember, the only thing that we are stipulating is that you have to submit a PDF and not the Word file. So you can't submit the Word, please save it as a PDF. Okay, that's all for this video. In the next video, we will start looking at Excel and all the nice things you can do there. You're also more than welcome to email me regarding questions for Word. I'm quite sure if you have a problem, it's something I've encountered before. I mean, I've been using Word for nearly 20 years. Yes, I am only 23, but for 20 years. So please email me, and I hope these Word tutorials have shown you at least one thing. At least one thing. Okay, I'll see you in the next video.